ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to NJPW Puroresu Review. I am your co-host, Andre. Right over here, it's the effervescent Melball. How you doing, Melball?
I am doing great, Andre. It's been a gloriously chaotic day today. I mean, it is a Tuesday, isn't it? No, it's a Wednesday. Even better. I got up. It was great. I was excited. Had a good breakfast. The dog finally went outside. The first time in like almost a week because of our frigid weather here. Great thing about having a chihuahua. I got to the gym. My headphones went kaput. So I got to spend 2 hours listening to the grunts and grams and giggity got get gookins of the people around me. But you know, I had a great leg day despite that. Despite dancing to the songs of the grunts beside me, I had a great leg day. And then I went to go home and she breaks a nail. It's one of those days, my friend. Can't have the good without the bad. But hey, we're still trucking. At least I can see the cute puppies in their coats walking in front of me while we're doing this.
Well,
how are you doing today?
I'm good. I got a workout in, getting all buff and stuff, getting all healthy, and got to work out again more with my trainer, Rich King, the man, the myth, the legend here in Alberta professional wrestling. I'm working out with him tomorrow. So yeah, a lot of
apparently spring in his boots.
Yeah, working out just on a couple days off here, just trying to take it kind of easy while still getting stuff done.
Yeah, easier said than done. Always.
I got a busy next week and a half, next week ahead of me because I go back to work. I work Friday, Saturday. I'm hanging out with you at a wrestling hockey game, and then I work again. Then I'm going to wrestling again, and then I finally get a weekend off. It's gonna be. I'm busy.
Lots of wrestling. We can't complain about that, can we?
No, not at all.
Never.
But we're going to get into this. But before we get into it, I want to thank each and every one of you guys. We appreciate all the great support. If you please keep liking the video, subscribing to the channel, commenting down below. Don't forget to hit sharing us out. Don't forget to hit that notification bell wherever on the YouTube channel so you can be alerted every time we drop a new video.
Ding dong.
I'm going to answer it today. Hello.
Who is there?
But yeah, and also want to, if you were listening on Sunday night's Main Event Radio, please subscribe to the channel and go over to the Patreon page and give the Patreon a follow. Lots of great new content going to be coming out over there. So before we get into Battle in the Valley, which we're here to talk about, I do want, because as we recorded this, it's Wednesday, January 17th, 2024. It is the 1 year since Jay Briscoe's passed. I just want to just say that I absolutely love that guy, especially former IWGP tag team champion. So I just want to give him a shout out to the man. We miss you. Miss watching you in professional wrestling because you and your brother were an amazing tag team, and your singles run alone was incredible. The singles run alone was incredible. So I just want to give a shout out to him on the anniversary of his passing.
Yeah, I was seeing that online today. Very sad, very sad.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely missing seeing some faces in professional wrestling, and his is one of them. They weren't the top team on my list, but they were always a team that you knew would be entertaining to watch. I used to call them the Hillbilly Ninjas.
Yeah, they did redneck karate, as I think that was called. So yeah, a lot of good stuff. So shout out to the wonderful Jay Briscoe. Rest in peace, my friend. But we're here to talk some New Japan. So we're going to get into it. We're going to talk a Battle in the Valley from this past weekend. I know we're a few days removed from Battle in the Valley on the 13th. It's now the 17th, but life has just been busy. I haven't been able to get around to recording till now. So we're going to talk Battle in the Valley. I thought absolutely tremendous show. The crowd from even when the crowd was filing in during the pre-show. I think they were very loud throughout the night, and they only ramped up into that insanely loud crowd in the main event. Holy shit!
Yeah. Anything out of Japan is kind of known for just being louder. We're used to our quiet Japan crowds, but then we get something like in the US or something in the UK, the UK especially. It's usually very loud with their songs. I love it. We even got some songs on this one too, though. Very,
Mm-hmm.
very fun. Yeah, this crowd was absolute fire.
Yeah, again, incredible crowd, and I really, really did enjoy hearing them tonight. So we're gonna get into it. Kick it off on the pre-show with the strong survivor match. You have the aerial chemist Matt Vandergriff taking on the golden era Goldy. Matt came out kind of dressed down comparatively to the last couple times I've seen him. Didn't have his goggles and his top hat and his big jacket. Just wearing his Ninja Camp Academy shirt, and he's got black tights with the pink accented knee pads, and kick pads look good. Goldy coming up with his black and gold gear as always. He's Goldy.
Also, Vandegrift missing his trademark beard there. And that really changed the look for me because there were points in the match where I was like, wait, who is that again? Oh, right, it's Vandegrift. He just looked very, very different to me. And Goldie kind of just, I'm not going to lie, at first I thought it was Callum. I thought it was Callum Newman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, very similar look between Callum and Goldie. And I think Vandegrift looked like it aged him down a good bit, taking the beard off. And it kind of weird because, and if I'm watching the guys who wrestling, I'm like, oh, he's going to have problems in a year or two. Because if you look at his hair, the top's already, you can already see the top of his hair starting to thin out. I've watched it happen with Michael Richard Blaze here in Edmonton. Yeah, man who learned to cut his hair because stuff thins out over the years.
But you know the power of the bald spot. We
Larry.
know the power. Fucking Larry.
Fucking Larry.
Power of the bald spot. And apparently his bald spot got beat up this weekend. Not enough to lose that title, but I digress. Back to this.
Yeah, it's good wrestling back and forth. They're working on each other's arms early. Matt's doing some flips and some arm drags. Matt sends Goldie over the top to the apron, and he does this like flip over the rope and like roll, like comes up, like landing on his back on the apron, and like up kicks Goldie off the apron. I was like, that was cool. Really different. Matt's on the apron. Goldie does that leg, like grabs the leg and sweeps him out. But Matt does a full front flip over and landing on the apron. Beautiful tilt-a-whirl backbreaker by Goldie for 2, and then follows over the neck breaker, whipping him hard into the corner and then like stamping on his face. Goldie's just working this kid over. Matt gets Goldie into the corner and hits a beautiful tagger feint kick through the ropes into the corner. Bridging fisherman suplex by Goldie for 2. Goldie throwing kicks to Matt. Goldie just starts slapping him. But Matt stands up, strikes, but then Goldie hits this like almost like a crescent kick to the head. Goldie goes for the Ushigoroshi, but Matt flips out, hits an enziguri, picks him up. I'm thinking he's going for a fall-away slam or something. Like holding him up, and then he just kind of like spins him down and he just drops him. I was like, to me, I'm like, oh, he's doing a Wade Barrett, because like all I could think of was the wasteland where Barrett had him on his shoulders and he just like roll him forward and like throw him down, and it looks so ineffective. I was just like, okay, and then he went up to the top, hits his 450, and gets the win. And again, I am not a professional wrestler, but as a fan, you got to give a little more oomph to when you go to slam the guy down. Because it just looked like you had him up in the air, and then you just went and you kind of rolled him down and dropped him. Like that's my only criticism of this entire match is that move needs a little more oomph. But Matt Vandergriff gets the win in the longest strong survivor match at 6 minutes.
Yeah, I do have to agree. I actually kind of liked that little spin thing, but it does need a little bit more power because like I know it's a setup to the finish, but it like in my head it's like Goldie wouldn't have laid there that long because the bump wasn't that bad. So yeah, no, I agree. It could use some more oomph, but I do like how it's an interesting feed into the 450 because we do see some people doing a little bit more aerials now. Vikingo, I mean, how do you even begin to try to compete with the uniqueness that that man has? Something like this can start to set you apart from that, and I kind of liked it, his little touch of flair, if you will. But yeah, definitely does need a little bit more pizzazz in it. Um, the tiger thing that you said in the corner, is that little flippy dippy thing that fed into that almost 619 looking thing?
Yeah, like because like there's two corner spots because there's the one where he sent Goldy over and just rolled over the ropes and landed on his back and up kicked him. And then there was later on the match, he just like flip into the corner. Goldy ended up going face first in the corner and they flipped over the top into the tiger feint kick.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering because like it wasn't like he was taking this like doing a 619 with the feet. He like folded in his knees and he gave him his shins essentially, which I really liked. I thought it looked really cool. Vandergriff, it has a very unique in ring kind of style that I would actually compare a little bit to Suji. In that regard, they've got that combination of aerialism and power wrestling, but he can probably, I feel like we have seen him transition into a few submissions in the past. Um, what else? Yeah, that 450 for the win, I thought super impressive. Again, with the little follow up thing, kind of did set him apart from Goldy. Goldy's going to be an interesting one. Um, he has this like persona in the ring that is like unlockable. You know what I mean? Like he starts off and he's kind of there. And as he gets madder or more emotional throughout the match, you start to see a little bit more of that personality and charisma start to come out. I think once he unlocks it a little bit quicker, he's going to see a little bit more up there. But otherwise, I thought this was a very solid match from two people coming out of that dojo.
Yeah, again, it's all about the New Japan Academy here. It's all about showcasing what the future of New Japan is going to be. And again, both these guys are building up. We've seen Goldy before. It was a few strong shows ago. He worked the pre-show and won the Strong Survivor match. And then Matt Vandergriff's won those last few. He's 3 in a row now. And we're going to keep seeing him on strong shows. Like he'll be at Windy City Riot. I guarantee you, he'll be on the pre-show for Windy City Riot. And I'm actually really looking forward to seeing him again and seeing who they put him in there with.
I just hope he grows the beard back.
Me too. Excuse me. We're going to move on to the other match on the pre-show. It is Viva Van taking on Stephanie Vaquer. I think I said it right.
Vaquer.
Vaquer. I'm trying. I'm white. I'm trying.
Bruh.
I know, but like I'm very white. I know Andreas was schooling us on the name, but I'm still insanely white, and I don't do foreign names super well. You have heard me on this show. You've heard me on this show millions of times. I am not good at names. You have to teach me Wakatsuki name.
What's going to be funny is that at some point in time in our journey on this, she's going to become a more regular thing for you to say, and we're just going to have you recording it, saying it properly one time, and then you can mess it up infinitely, and we'll just have the audio just Vaquer over top of when you butcher it.
Oh, Jesus, come on. Oh, you're mean. Stephanie Vaquer. Vendetta, or Viva Van gets the Vendetta, which is a wheel kick for 2 count hiss. Vaquer gets the Suzuki-like, Minoru Suzuki-like armbar over the rope. Boot wash in the corner by Vaquer. And the inverted head scissors slams and starts slamming the face down to the mat. Gets a 2 count. Skull on skull headbutt, just gross. This wouldn't be the last one of the night. I can tell you that for sure. Not even the last one in this match. Sick ass dragon screw out of the corner by Vaquer. Viva Van with the kicks and sweeps the legs. Hits this running Meteora for 2. High cross by Viva. But Vaquer rolls it through into a pin for 2. Then transition into the crossface. But Viva gets to the ropes. Viva Van gets Tarantula on the ropes. Vaquer hits this like weird looking DDT. I don't know if it was fully like she got her, went back, but it didn't look right. And she pulls it into a roll up for 2. Vaquer going back to the headbutts in the corner. Hits a corner Meteora. Then the package backbreaker, which when she hit that package backbreaker at the end for the win, I was like, damn. So she hooks it up like a package pile driver, then picks it up and spins it out and drops the person onto the knee. That was cool. I really liked that.
So what I'm telling you, these Lucha girls, they're dangerous. That Meteora in the corner. She bounced off of that turnbuckle. She hit that girl so hard. Gosh dang. Going back to the beginning though, Viva Van's robe was gorgeous. I loved her entry robe. She looks so good. Her gear looks so good. I really liked how she looked. Vaquer, though, coming in with the horns and the robe, very cold, very villainesque, and I loved it. With that little touch of red in her outfit, kind of is something a little different. I'm used to seeing her in more a solid black, so I was really happy to see that little splash of color. Her attitude very fiery in this one, but still very calm. At no point did she seem flustered or angry or over emotional. She was very stoic in this match. Really, really enjoyed that. The series of reversals that these women were doing at the beginning there, where it was just like trying to get into a move, but the other just denying them over and over and over again. It was like, I don't want to say a dance, but it was almost essentially like they were doing a little dance. And I really enjoyed it. Just showing off how smart and intelligent these girls are with that technicality. What else? That thing where you said she was slamming her head into the ground, I think that was called a skull crusher. That's what I was listening to the Japanese commentary as opposed to the English one on this one, because for whatever reason, my fight wouldn't log on to the television. So we watched it on NJPW and we watched it in Japanese, and that was what he was screaming at that point. Skull crusher. I was like, okay, that's a
sure.
It looked like a Brazilian lap dance to me almost, but like not quite as happy ending. Yeah, I really liked the Skull Crushers because they were different from the Brazilian lap dance that we're used to seeing from Taguchi, in that they were legitimately effective. Whereas like the Brazilian lap dance is just kind of embarrassing. I don't know that it's actually damaging anything other than your pride. Yeah, this was a very, very fun match, and I think another kind of step for Vaquer in really getting a solid foot in the North American kind of market. I'm very excited to see what we have next for her, because she's challenged for the strong title now twice, isn't it? Once directly and once in the tournament kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and this was a eliminator match for another shot at the title.
I mean, third time's the charm, right, girl? I mean, let's give her, because what a better representation for the strong brand in North America than Stephanie Vaquer.
Well, in my thinking of this is Fantastica Mania is in February. She is CMLL. So why not
was telling you that would be a fantastic idea. Just bring her over to Stardom for that time. Please do.
Not even that. You could have Giulia versus Stephanie Vaquer on one of the Fantastica Mania shows. Maybe on like the final night of Fantastica Mania, on the big final night, do Stephanie Vaquer versus Giulia for the strong title. That would be, I think that would work.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah, that would work. That would be freaking fantastic. I still think it would be really, really awesome to start setting up the same kind of Fantastica Mania thing, not just with NJPW, but with Stardom as well. Start bringing over some of the the CMLL ladies, mixing them up with some of the Stardom ladies. Maybe we can start seeing some of the Stardom ladies going over to CMLL, training with some of the girls there. That'd be an incredible experience for both companies.
Imagine Lucha Waka. That would be awesome.
Could you imagine? Oh my
Awesome.
God, that would be incredible.
Yeah, it would be. So we're going to move on. Going to get to the first match of the actual pay-per-view, and it is a 6-person tag match. Fred Rosser, Jacob Fatu, and Shota Umino taking on Team Filthy, Jorel Nelson, Royce Isaacs, and Tom Lawlor. If you didn't know, Jacob Fatu is from MLW. Family ties to Roman Reigns, the Usos, and The Rock. So he's part of that Samoan dynasty line there. Yeah, I took a lot of notes in this match where I realized I don't really need that many notes for this match. I pretty much wrote down everything. Rosser and Lawlor, they've been having a pretty big feud over the last few years of strong. And it seems to come to a head like it's almost turned into a respect battle versus actually hating on each other more or less, in my personal opinion. I think that's where we've gone to.
I would have to agree, yeah, because before we would see Team Filthy being filthy and just beating up on people and whatever. Now we see handshakes being done by Tom and Fred Rosser. Seems to be a little bit of a causing some tensions though with the rest of Team Filthy.
Well, throughout the match, like Isaacs and Nelson were trying to play dirty tactics in the match, but especially when it was against a Rosser, they tended to. Lawlor tended to be very much like no. It is how I felt. Fatu in here, man. When he came in, that crowd went nuts for him. They were into this dude, man. Like they were into this dude, man. Coming in, takes everyone out, hits a suicide dive onto Nelson on the floor. That Fosbury flop to Lawlor and Isaacs on the other side. Hits a swanton and a handspring moonsault to Lawlor for 2. Dude, he was so like just this dude. Like I haven't watched a lot of him in MLW, but what I've watched, I've been impressed and just more impressive. And him and Lawlor had a feud in MLW too, so they're very familiar with each other, man. A lot of West Coast Wrecking Crew double teams in this match. Like they double team Umino and Nelson. Then Nelson hits his just rough looking pounce to Umino, dude. Just sending him across the ring. Crazy. The Team Filthy do hit the triple powerbomb. Lawlor gets in on the triple team. They do it to Umino, so he didn't seem to be as much caring about triple teaming Umino as much more than Nelson or than Rosser. But yeah, really good. Yeah. Ending comes Isaacs and Umino trading finisher reversals. They trade strikes. Umino hits that pop-up uppercut, hits the Blaze Blade, thief, and then hits the Death Rider for the win. Listen, guy's entire gimmick is I'm a thief, I'm stealing from everybody else. So yeah. So Rosser offers a handshake to Lawlor after the match, but Nelson pushes Lawlor away, saying, no. But Lawlor fights through his boys and shakes Rosser's hand, or slaps Rosser in the face. Rosser slaps him back. Then they shake hands, and then Rosser leaves, and his boys follow him out. So the crowd's chanting and cheering. Everybody's leaving, and it's Umino's leaving. A masked guy pops out of the crowd, beats him up, and then like a couple security guards jumped on him too, which I really like seeing, because in wrestling, when a guy jumps out of the crowd and the security does nothing, you're like, fuck you. But this one, actually, the security grabbed him at first, but then he pulls the mask off, and it's Jack Perry from AEW. I was slightly underwhelmed, but he's not like he's attacking Ospreay after a match. He's attacking Umino. So he gets in the ring, or he does the barricade hung DDT, hits a flying knee in the ring, dropping Umino, stands over him, pulls an AEW contract out, rips it up, and puts on an armband which says scapegoat on it. Crowds boos him, and that was it. Now, again, I'm I'm interested in seeing what Perry does, but I'm not excited for the guy to be here. But if they do if Gato does a good storyline, I'm down. The guy's a good professional wrestler.
I'm going to talk about the match first, and then I'm going to complain about this.
Mm-hmm.
There was the beginning of the match when Rosser was in there with Jorel Nelson. I don't know, part of it just felt awkward, almost like they didn't know what they were doing together. There was kind of like a lot of like weird handsy stuff going on where they were trying to grab onto each other, but they weren't supposed to be doing that yet or something. It just kind of felt awkward to me. Maybe it just has to do with the tension that's happening between him and all of Team Filthy. I don't know. It just felt a little awkward. Yeah, but you're absolutely right. Fatu, just, the crowd erupted, and holy heck, did he come in like a wrecking ball. He was kind of like the silent star of this match because whenever he stepped in there, all the attention was on him. But even when he was like not in the ring, it was impossible to not pay attention to what it was that he was kind of doing. He was always kind of doing something. What else? Lots of chaos in Team Filthy right now. Going to be interesting to see how much longer they fly the banner of Team Filthy and if West Coast Wrecking Crew will stay there and whatever will happen to Mr. Limelight or whatever. Not that I care, but whatever happens to him, I mean, still a decent junior wrestler. Yeah, interesting to see how this story with these guys and like Team Filthy and Rosser kind of progresses. Yeah, Shota, I'm not gonna lie, like there was one point I actually forgot Shota was in the match.
Mm-hmm.
When he showed up to do the end, I was like, oh right, you're here. That's why the intro was so long. But yeah, kind of like, oh, okay. The little hidden blade. Yeah, I got that. Heard your little thing under there. And you're right. He is a thief. Who is Shota Umino? Does Shota Umino even know who Shota Umino is? His hairstyle is like Naito. His outfit is like Tanahashi. He wrestles like John Moxley, and now he's stealing people's moves. Bruh, you are not an amoeba thing or a single cell organism that you attach yourself to someone and then you just suck out the good spots of them. Who is Shota Umino? I don't feel that we know. So this brings me to Mr. Perry. Why we debuting a guy who had the most underwhelming personality and least amount of charisma on one of the biggest companies that he had the opportunity to? Why are we debuting that then Mama Jamma against our version of said underwhelming lack of personality and charisma Mama Jamma? There's nothing for them to leech off of to make the thing better. That's how these two are able to be where they were in the companies that they were in. So why we do it? But I'm not going to be that bitch. I'm going to be that supportive lady. And I'm going to say, you know what? Gato did a good thing last year with the Wardogs. He really built those guys up. He told a really great story. We were a little concerned about that story too when it started, and look how it kind of went out. I'm going to have faith, but yeah, the debut did not. He came out, and I was like, oh, great. Another one. If we were doing a tradesies with AEW, would not have been even in a top 10 of what I would have wanted for an exchange. But this is what we get, and I'm going to hope that some of those acting chops can pop out of Mr. Perry there. That's in your lineage. Let's see some of it.
Yeah, I get that. But remember, Gato has a propensity for booking people with zero charisma into a world title. So yeah, I'm not surprised.
He has a tendency, but it's not foolproof. I mean, we got Sonata.
Yeah, who has a zero charisma. Great professional wrestler, dude. And when he went, was it Forbidden Door? It was him and Jack Perry. The match itself was like technically really good, but I was super bored during that match because neither man, that was a black hole of charisma match. And as much I know there's a lot of Sonata supporters out there, I think the man is an incredible professional wrestler, but he's got like very little charisma. Jack Perry, I'm sorry, you do not have your dad's acting chops. I'm glad you're a good professional wrestler because you do not have the acting chops of your father. Yeah, the beard made you look a lot more like your dad, but yeah, still like I'm hoping Gato can get something out of him, having him work in New Japan personally. But I'm hoping it's not just a New Japan Strong thing, where next time we see him is in 3 months at Windy City Riot. This needs to come over to Japan. If it's going to happen, they need to build him in Japan, in my personal opinion.
Well, yeah, that's the only way it's going to work. But that being said, though, we've been trying to build this Mama Jamma in Japan too. And Shota, he's got the personality of a salt-free soda cracker, man. It's just so dry, not palatable. You eat it when your stomach's upset. Like, that's, yeah. I'm going to hope that they do something good with it and that they can figure something out with this. But typically, like with Shota, he needs somebody to leech that personality off of to feel comfortable being more than he is. And I feel like Perry is the same way based on the very little amount of things that I have seen of him in AEW. My concern is getting those two in the ring and them not having anything to do and us having that Sonata Perry 2.0 and having months of it. Not just a one-off match, having months of it. That is a concern. But I'm going to hope Gato fix it.
Yeah, hopefully Gato can get something out of both of these guys. Umino, I think, is a lost cause at this point, personally, because he's been being booked by Gato forever, and they just like I see sparks of it every now and again, but then he just falls apart. And now he's dealing with Dorada, and now he's dealing with Perry. Does Perry end up as a member of the House of Torture? That's the other question. I don't know, and it just I don't know.
Y'all just gave me a heart attack with that one. Just come on. You can't. How do you make the worst thing worser?
It can be House of Perry.
No.
Not even the good Perry either. Oh, wish there was a platypus. I wish there was a platypus. We move on. Please tell me you understand what I'm talking about with the platypus. Perry the platypus. Oh, Melball's lost. We move on. It's Lucha time, baby. Rocky Romero and Soberano Jr. taking on Mascara Dorada and Volador Jr. The original Mascara Dorada, by the way. No, sorry, this is not the original. This is the second Mascara Dorada, I'm pretty sure. This is not the original. The OG is Grand Metalik. This is the newer version that took over the gimmick when he went to WWE. Was very confused with Soberano fighting with Volador and like attacking him into Volador's own corner, and then like Dorada just like standing there, letting him beat on his partner instead of tagging in. I'm like, what?
This was a very Lucha-inspired match, though, and that's what they do.
Yeah, but it makes no sense.
I didn't say it did. That's just what they do.
Yeah, lots of flips, lots of kicks. Soberano trying to heal it up as best he can, and doing a terrible job at it, in my opinion. The only good heel in this match was Rocky Romero. Soberano's way better as a face when he was working with Atlantis during the tag league. He's not a good heel, man. I'm sorry. Volador though, that like the flips, man. He had this handspring flip, looked so good. Volador and Dorada hitting dual suicide dives to the floor. Rocky gets the 1 ever, 2 ever, 3 ever, but that does not get the 4 ever clothesline. But he does get the rewind kick for 2. Rocky flips out of a power bomb, hits the Dude Buster to Volador Jr. Soberano hits the Giselle Shaw spinning dive off the top. And then he hits an up kick to a moonsaulting Dorada. Electric chair flip into a neck breaker by Dorada to Soberano Jr. Looked absolutely tremendous. Soberano blesses Dorada, but he fights off Rocky. Dorada fights off Rocky, hits a head scissors to Soberano, dodges the Rocky Romero senton, and hits a toe bait to Soberano on the floor. Volador Jr. and hits the Canadian Destroyer to Rocky Romero, and Volador gets the win.
Because Canadian Destroyer looks like a finisher. Just pointing that out. I like that he made it a very authoritative finish as well. What to say? Soberano Jr.'s mask, very Black Tiger inspired. I loved it. I thought it was cool. I like the heel Soberano, but I also tend to like the goofier heels a little bit because he's doing the goofy heel thing where he's wearing the faux fur jacket and he's kind of acting like a dick and laughing about it. He's acting like a bro. He's acting like a club bro. And I don't think I've seen that a lot in the Mexican, like CMLL, AAA kind of thing. So I actually really enjoy it. Because he also has been playing to the crowd a lot more as a heel than he did as a face. So I really did enjoy his interaction in this match as well. Mascara, so freaking quick, like deceptively quick. And the way he just moves, it's close to that Vikingo kind of speed and agility and ability to just whoop-de-whoop into something. And sometimes it just happens so quickly that he or someone else wasn't prepared for it. And sometimes you overspin something. I noticed it happen a few times, but he could just catch back on with his feet so quickly and just complete whatever it was that he was doing. I appreciated it so much. The teams, I felt, both worked very, very well together, very fluidly together throughout this entire match. I really liked how it was very obvious which ones the heels were and which ones the faces were, and they interacted very over the top appropriately to create a very fun and interesting story that I honestly wasn't aware of going. I know there's like ish going on between Volador and Rocky, but I didn't know how Dorada or Soberano fit into that. And they created this really fun bad guy, good guy story kind of on the fly, seemingly, in this show, which I really, really enjoyed. But yeah, I've always enjoyed Volador Jr. and his style. That Canadian Destroyer just boom at the end there, just perfect way to end that match.
Yeah, I like that. You do. We're gonna move on. It's TJP versus the new NJP or IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion David Finlay in a non-title bout. I gotta say it. TJP's theme song, it's a goddamn banger. Like, so good. David Finlay's regular theme, it's fine, but his Wardogs theme is just straight up fire. Like, I'd rather him just come to the Wardogs team all the time. Veda says that TJP does plan to kind of step up as a leader for United Empire after Ospreay heads to AEW, which I like to hear. They're going to need a leader. TJP attacks Finlay on the floor, runs in the barricade, hits a wrecking ball drop kick. He chokes Finlay with the shirt. They brawl. Finlay ends up suplexing TJP on the ramp. I think it was, I can't remember, one of them said TJP actually faced David Finlay's little brother Brogan back in 2022 on Strong before Brogan signed with WWE. So yeah, this Brogan was another one who was NJPW trained and left for WWE, just like that a-hole Carl Fredericks leaving NJPW didn't give him his career Bastard.
no.
Bastard.
We do not talk negatively about the Alpha.
I do. Screw that
Rude.
guy. Screw that
Rude.
guy. Screw that
Rude.
guy.
Rude.
He abandoned those who trained him. Just like
Alex
Brogan.
Zane went at the same time, my guy.
What do you mean?
He
Zane
went with
never
that
went.
group too. Alex Zane left NJPW. Same with Blake Christensen. Remember that weirdo who did the Captain Morgan?
Zane
Whole group. He was with that whole group.
Zane was there. Zane came back to AEW or to WWE or to NJPW.
Back, but he left.
Yeah, but Carl Fredericks abandoned them. Zane was never gone. Come on, we know that.
He was on NXT a couple times.
That was as like an enhancement talent. Everybody's worked NXT as an enhancement. He never went to WWE like Carl did, the jerk. Finlay whips TJP into the
hypocrisy over there, my friend.
Finlay whips TJP into the corner. TJP flips like flipping over the top, falling to the floor. He's Finlay beating up on TJP, comes back, but TJP comes back, snaps the arm Fujiwara style, hot shots the arm on the rope, hits a Mamba splash to the floor. He hangs Finlay up on the ropes, hits a Mamba splash on the ropes, hits a tornado DDT, gets a lace wash and running boot in the corner a couple times. Finlay ends up getting like a deep, the Baron Corbin deep six to TJP as he's going for the running knee, and then hits a harsh Irish curse backbreaker for 2. Hits another super Irish curse backbreaker on the Dominator for 2. Gets the shillelaghs taken away. TJP missed him in the face. Hits the running knee for 2. Then a Mamba splash for 2. Finlay hits this sick-looking pile driver to TJP, who kicks out a 2.9. He then picks him up, hits this modified version. Like, he lifts him up for the trash pan, but he's bringing him down. He just lifts his knee up to crack him in the knee. Like, he didn't drop him down on it. He lifted his knee up into it for the trash pan into Oblivion, and he gets the win. This match was really good. My favorite part was after the match, where Finlay's getting in a fan's face, and then another fan's holding up his world title. And Finlay, because Finlay's holding the belt up at this other dude. And Finlay grabs this guy's world title and whips it across to the other side of the ring, like into the crowd on the other side. I was like, oh, you just wasted fucking $400, buddy. Or more. Like, Jesus.
Yeah. Not only that, but like, who caught it? Where'd it go? Did they get their hands up, or did somebody just get bitch slapped by a world title? Oh, dear. Life choices were made. And,
Yep.
Let's just say, like, it's what a heel would do. And it works so perfectly to this persona. I got like really giddy when I saw this match, because this, if you remember, was my choice for Super Junior of the Year last year, TJP, and my choice for wrestler to look out for this year, David Finlay. Holy hot dang. The Red Mist by TJP was perfection, and it ended up flowing so perfectly and nicely together. This match was a great back and forth between the two of them, and it was really even. Like, usually with NJPW matches, there's a template where you can see who's dominating early in the match. You can usually figure out who's going to win. This match didn't have that. It was TJ got the drop on Finlay, kicked his ass for a bit, and then Finlay figured it out, turned around, and started kicking TJP's ass for a little bit. It was very, is he going to get it or is he going to get it? Is he going to get it or is he going to get it? Literally to the last little bit, I was confused. I didn't know. I had no idea who's going to win it. But when you look at the paper and know that even though TJP is the IWGP Junior Tag Team Champion, Finlay he's a global champion. It's above the junior tag division, unfortunately. But man, was this fight, because it was just a fight at one point. I mean, TJP was just throwing feet every which way he can, getting not one but two face face washes
Mm-hmm.
from TJP. And he's a man of the people, Mr. TJP. He's a perfect leader. The crowd was asking for another face wash. He gave us a face wash. He is a kind God. I accept TJP as our Lord and ruler for the Empire. I can deal with that. I think it's actually the best decision they can make. The amount of experience that this guy has can only push him to the top.
It's true. Very true. We move on. Strong Openweight Tag Team Championships. It's the Guerrillas of Destiny defending their titles against the Bullet Club Wardogs team of Alice Coughlin and Clark Connors. Remember, this is the Strong Openweight Tag Team titles. So remember, this is the Openweight. So we have the junior and the heavyweight coming together in this match. Wardogs attack for the bell. Giulia fight him off. Connors ends up chop blocking the knee of Hikuleo. Coughlin pulls Hikuleo onto the apron and wraps the knee around the post a couple times. They spend the next few minutes working over the knee of Hikuleo. They're beating him up in the corner. ELP gets in, hits a springboard cross in the line, salt to Coughlin in the ring, hits a tornado DDT off the apron to Connors on the floor. Springboard tornado DDT in the ring, back in the ring to Oz Coughlin. And him and Hikuleo hit the UFO big boot combo for a 2 count. Coughlin gets a huge German to Hikuleo and then hits the Dreadnought Driver, which I was like, that's awesome, to Hikuleo. Connors hits the spear, and the Dogs hit the hit and run, which is the high-low for a 2 count. Sandwich forearms by the Wardogs and the assisted brainbuster, but again, only 2. Full clip is hit onto Hikuleo, but the pin gets broken up. ELP kicks Connors off when he's up top. He kicks him off the top. Coughlin gets hit with, and Coughlin gets power slammed, choke slam by Hikuleo, and the Super Thunder Kiss 86, and the champs retain their titles in 12 minutes and 16 seconds.
Yeah, this was a fun one. I'm a be that girl. I felt that this was a really great match for in-ring performance for the Wardogs, but their gear was depressingly underwhelming.
We're in jeans.
Yeah. I mean, I did not not like the ripped pants that Connors was wearing. I would personally wear a pair of those myself. But the boots that he was wearing, the cowboy boot inspired looking things, made him look like he was wearing canoes. They just did not look like they fit properly. They may have, but they did not look like they did. And it kind of looked cheap. Looked ridiculous. And then there was Coughlin, who is already a confusing member for me because he like unquestionably fits in this faction. He is power. He is dominance. And he has that resting bitch face that just makes him so intimidating. He's a perfect intimidation person. But like wearing just black jeans and not even black boots. He was wearing those like slate gray blue looking suede things that again did not look like they fit his feet properly. These two, I don't want to say clowns because they didn't look like clowns, but they looked like emo clowns. I did not like the outfits. They did not look professional. And then we see them later in the night wearing pretty much the same damn thing and just adding a t-shirt, and it looked so much better. I don't understand it. I would like to see them. I would have liked to see Connors in his regular gear, his regular, 100 proof gear that he wore with Trillo Maloney. That stuff looks great. Probably would have looked even better because he's so freaking cut right now. Both of these guys. But yeah, and see, even with Coughlin, just would have liked to see him in his just regular black trunks. I did not like the look of this. They kind of just looked like some guys they pulled off the street. But the match itself was so damn good. I understand it.
Yeah.
However, that's all I have.
Okay. You said however, so I assumed you were about to say something else. So I was like, what? Okay. Yeah, again, really. I thought really good match. This match was was it longer or as long as these teams got, or longer than God got facing Bishamon at Wrestle Kingdom. Yeah, that makes sense.
If I'm being honest, I enjoyed this match more than I enjoyed Bishamon
Mm-hmm.
and like I did not enjoy the Wrestle Kingdom matches nearly as much as this one.
Mm.
But Bishamon looked professional, minus Yoshihashi's oversized intro gear.
I hate that gear.
Me too.
We move on. It's the strong women's championship. Giulia defending against NJPW Academies and ROH in AEW. She's appeared on them all. Trish Adora. Adora comes out. She has Charlie Bravado. And as I knew him in AEW, the captain, Sean Dean, coming out with her, it kind of gave her instead of her just coming out on her own, to a crowd that might not be as familiar with her, maybe a pay-per-view audience that hasn't watched a lot of her, gave her something to her because she came in with her boys. They were getting all hype around her. They coming out and they got to the ring, and then they fucked off to the back. They fucked off right after she got to the ring. But it gave her that something as she coming out, which I really liked.
A little bit of like credibility, I think.
Yeah. It wasn't just generic wrestler number 2, and it's not just another challenger for her. It kind of gave her something.
Exactly.
Yeah. So they shake hands, and Giulia tries to immediately pull her in for the backdrop driver, but Adora avoids it. So they shake hands again, and they get in each other's face again. It's a lot of tension off the handshakes early on. I thought it was pretty good. Chain wrestling around early. Standing crucifix hold by Giulia, but Dora reverses into an air raid crash stretch. She pulls her down, like stretches her in an air raid crash. Looked phenomenal. Huge backbreaker across the knee by Dora. The trading strikes. Giulia pulls a knee bar out of nowhere and transitions into the STF, but Adora gets to the ropes pretty quickly. Germans are traded back and forth. Giulia hits the backdrop driver. Then Adora snaps the arm down and hits a senton to the back. Adora, my favorite spot for Adora in this match, picks her up, hits a goddamn Bubba Bomb. I haven't seen one of those in years. The full Nelson, lift a full Nelson and drop them on their tailbone. Oh, I was and Veda called it a bubble bomb, which made me so happy. I was like, that's a bubble bomb. And she hits her with a bubble bomb. And I'm like, oh my God, she called it.
Every time you say Bubba, I'm hearing bubble.
Bubble bomb, bubble bomb, bubble bomb.
It's like a SpongeBob move. What?
Yeah.
It is not SpongeBob.
So from the bubble bomb, she transitions into the cattle mutilation. But Giulia, the Bryan Danielson special right there. But Giulia gets to the ropes and she rolls to the floor. Huge power slam on the floor by Adora. Giulia ends up running Adora into the barricade. Adora cuts her off up top. They fight up on the top rope, but Giulia hits the super butterfly suplex off the top for 2. She hits the knee to the face. Adora comes back with a big boot, but Giulia hits that like wild swinging baseball style punch, the baseball throw style punch that she does, and then she hits the Northern Lights bomb, and she gets the win. Absolutely tremendous match. They shake hands after. Dude, this was stellar. These two women killed it. 13 minutes and 2 seconds. Just so good.
Yeah, I noticed this one was a little lengthy, which I was happy about because sometimes the women's matches, they don't get too much time. So it was nice to have a really good amount of time on here. In the beginning there, Giulia was really trying to work those transitions, which we've seen her working a lot, especially with these power wrestlers. And Trish Adora is definitely a power wrestler, but she definitely scouted a lot of those moves, and she kind of had an answer for a lot of what Giulia was feeding her at the beginning there. What I really enjoyed the most about this, despite her being a power kind of styled wrestler, it wasn't the same kind of power as like someone like Micah or someone like Lady C or someone like Hanako or someone like Megan Bain. It was a completely different, unique moveset all on its own, which was really fun to watch Giulia try to figure out how to compensate for. I really enjoy that style of Adora, that interesting kind of power transition move. I really did enjoy that. I didn't know that that's what it was called, that air raid style submission that she did. Really, really like that, because at first I thought that she was just dropping her, and I'm like, why is she wiggling? Why is she still standing there? And I'm like, oh, she's turning. She's showing off. She's gloating. I love it. The look of Trish Adora also very, very nice. I like the brighter colors with her darker skin tone. It makes everything just pop so nicely. It's a nice kind of, what's the word? It's not coming to me right now, but it's a
Accent?
very no. It'll come to me like at 3 a.m. and I'll like send you a voicemail like half awake of this is what I meant. But like the pop of the white eyeliner was just so great. These women also wearing their best gear. I mean, Giulia's jacket just phenomenal. Again, I hope to see that styling follow her if we are losing her and she's coming over to the North American scene for a while. Don't take away her jackets, please. Let her keep her stuff. But overall, this was a phenomenal match. Really, really liking the fighting champion spirit that Giulia has been kind of putting forward since moving this title, and in winning this title. And I'm hoping that to see this fighting champion keep going until she is leaving the company. I kind of would like to see it, like her kind of like lose it on her last match kind of thing. Because this is the champion who's elevating this championship specifically, even over the world championship in Stardom. And arguably, she's made it more important than the IWGP Women's Championship. Mm-hmm. She's fought with this thing more and more publicly than anybody else has in Stardom, which I hope we see change this year, because we need another historic crossover show to showcase these ladies.
Well, and something I didn't even mention, this is where Tom Lawlor joined commentary. So I think it was this match where he joined commentary, and he's talking about Giulia and mentioning Suri and other things, which I really did like, because he teamed up with Suri to face Giulia and Zack at the historic crossover. So I like that he was talking about.
And he got beat up by Suri and Giulia.
Yeah, so I like that he was making the comments in there. There's that familiarity there with him in there. I really did like that. But we move on. It's a tag team match.
Wait. Don't you want to talk about what happened in between this?
Oh, yes. So before we jump to the tag team match, we got a video on the Tron. Mustafa Ali, the man who was released from WWE last September, appears on the Tron, and he challenges the man Hiromu Takahashi to a match for Windy City Riot in Mustafa's home of Chicago, Illinois, on April 12th. So, like, Mustafa's challenging Hiromu to come to his turf to face him at Windy City Riot. He's going to Mustafa Ali's home of Chicago, Illinois. I'm excited, and that's going to be a good match. This dude's on a tour, and I'm really hoping a certain local promoter named Spencer can book this man in sometime soon, because I want to see Mustafa Ali in LPW, or even if a guy named Harlan wants to book him in Top Talent, I'm fine with that too.
I was more excited for this than I was for Jack Perry's review or reveal. That's for damn sure. But yeah, I'm actually really excited. I was actually a little like offended at first, but then I was like, oh no, he's right. When he's going on about Hiromu, how Hiromu has failed the company, how he's kind of like not done anything right by the company. And I'm like, well, he's kind of done everything he can in that company right now. I couldn't disagree with him. So I think that this might be the match that, helps Mustafa past his WWE departure, but also help Hiromu kind of evolve this year. I think this is one step in the evolution of what we're going to see with Hiromu Takahashi this year. And yeah, if you guys want to go check out that promo, please do. It was a great promo. Like, it's nice to see that emotion and just the detail. You could tell he put a lot of thought and a lot of research into the things that he said before saying them. He wasn't just kind of going off the fly. He had a lot of stuff to back stuff up about what Hiromu was doing, what his gimmicks have been, the things he's done. Yeah, very, very good promo. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, again, it's like I like Mustafa Ali. This is a character he was developing in WWE, trying to get it on screen, but they never went with the character, and I really like it. I'm excited to see what this guy does. I want to see him here in Alberta. I really do. But yeah, I can't wait to see that match. Those two are gonna tear it down, man.
Could you imagine Mustafa Ali versus Son of Irish?
Please, God,
Holy
please.
shit.
Mm,
That would
be
be
awesome.
Money.
Mm-hmm. Straight up
Right.
money. Well, we're going to move on. It's a tag team match. It's TMDK's Bad Dude Tito and Zack Sabre Jr. taking on Matt Riddle and the Blank Space. The
Big Toots!
Big Toots is back. The mystery partner is revealed to be Riddle's old Chosen Bros partner, United Empire's Jeff Cobb. Lawlor on commentary in this match made a lot of sense because both him and Riddle have had a very similar career in going from the UFC into pro wrestling. So I like that little. You can speak to Riddle's kind of style a little more in what he is background. Good wrestling match. Riddle and Sabre, their technical wrestling together throughout the match was very good because Riddle, for what he was in WWE, is underrated in how good he is as a technical wrestler from his time as an actual UFC fighter and the wrestling training he has. So like very good with those two rolling around. A beautiful assisted floating bro by Cobb and Riddle for a one count. There is a beautiful Sabre neck snap next to the rope while Big Teats does the Eddie Guerrero senton over the top combo. Really good. Love that. Sabre starts snapping the toes of Riddle because he doesn't wear boots. And the crowd starts chanting, "You sick fuck! You sick fuck!" I was just like, that's awesome. Cobb runs Sabre into the corner on the guillotine attempt. Looked really good, just crushing him in the corner. Sabre turns the Tour of the Islands into the crucifix for 2. Riddle in with kicks, strikes to Teats, but Teats gets an enziguri and a harsh German. Cobb pulls Sabre off the apron and gets but Sabre ends up pulling a rear naked choke on the floor, and Teats hits a blue thunder bomb in the ring to Riddle for 2. Floating bro off the tops to Teats. Sabre and Zack trade holds. Sabre catches the kick into the ankle lock, but Cobb gets him up and tosses. Cobb breaks that up and picks up Sabre and tosses him into throws him off his shoulder into a kick by Riddle. Teats gets German by Cobb, but he comes back, hits an exploder to Cobb right back. Riddle, and they both end up rolling out. Riddle hits the ripcord knee, hits the bro Derek, and he gets the win. I think it was on Big Teats for the win. Again, really good match. I think it was Riddle needed this to kind of get him kind of back on the scene, I guess, because I know he's challenging Tanahashi for the TV title. He's got a lot of stuff coming up in the next little bit.
Yeah, with this one, I this was honestly, despite having Big Teats in this one, who's one of my favorite wrestlers right now, I was actually not excited to see this one too much. Not a really big Riddle fan, and I wasn't particularly excited once I saw Cobb knowing even though that they have history, I was like, mm. Because immediately my head went, so does that mean he's going to start to get chummy with United Empire? Because no thank you. Can stay over there on your side of the fence, sir.
You don't want the bro knighted empire?
That is sacrilege. You deserve to be whipped and flayed for that.
Oh no! They can be the
Horrible.
bruv. They can be the bruv knighted empire.
You're fired. What the hell? Ugh. Yeah, the no shoes thing again. It was a concern for me for Bailey. It was a concern for me for other people. It was a concern for me for Alex Zane when he was doing commentary and was just taking his shoes off at ringside. You never know who's going to yeet themselves under your feet. People are rude.
Guess I'm gonna have to roll bare feet at your place next time we hang out.
I mean, that would be a personal choice of yours. It's too cold for me to even be doing that. Yeah, I was really happy to see Cobb, though. I do enjoy watching Cobb wrestle. I just wasn't the biggest fan of his partner. That being said, though, the match itself was actually very solid. I really enjoyed that combo that you had mentioned, the neck twist with the Eddie Guerrero senton. That was actually one of the only things that I noted that I actually really liked. Yeah, I'm always happy to see Big Teats. I really enjoyed him squaring off with Cobb. It's not very often that somebody gets Cobb off his feet and lifted and dropped on him. And he definitely dropped Cobb on his shoulder really, really nastily in this one. Disappointed with the result, but the overall ride was enjoyable. So kind of evens out for me, I guess.
I think everybody loves big teats. Come on. Everybody wants to see some big teats. Well, he's great. He's a great wrestler. Come on.
Yes, he is. He's a fantastic wrestler.
So we move on to the match for the American Triple Crown for the AEW Continental title, the New Japan Strong Openweight title, and the ROH World title. It's Eddie Kingston versus defending his titles against Gabe Kidd. Veda says Kidd does not give a shit about the other two titles. He just wants a strong title, but he's getting all three in this match because Eddie's going around. He's defending it as a Triple Crown, which I'm fine with. Defend them all three. I don't care as long as you're defending them. And in what turned out to be a very good match between these two, because this match was very much about beat the living piss out of the other, in my personal opinion. The Kid attacks Eddie on the apron. They're brawling up the ramp, backdrop on the ramp. They're just beating the piss at each other on the floor, trading hard chops back and forth at each other in the ring. Eddie hitting a T-bone suplex, gets the machine gun chops in the corner. Kid's fighting back, forearm strikes, gets a brain buster. He stands up. He's like walking around the ring with his arms up. The crowd's just chanting, "Fuck you, kid! Fuck you, kid! Fuck!" It was great. Just these two just going back and forth, man. The half and half by Eddie, and he gets a beautiful back fist for two. Kid reverses the Northern Light bomb to a backdrop driver, hits a tombstone for two. Excuse me. Kid and Eddie running head first into each other. This is where there's like, they start headbutting each other. It's just gross. They're trading chops and strike, just going back and forth. And he gets an exploder, clipping the apron on the floor. They're fighting on the floor, and they're trading strikes. He gets the exploder Kid clips the apron as he goes over. Look, just rough as hell. Kid Eddie's going to get back in, and Kid calls Eddie a bitch, and is that the count's at 16 right now? So Eddie comes back, he starts wailing on Kid. They both get counted out. Staff are trying to tear the two apart. They're breaking out and fighting each other. He gets a hold of the AEW Continental title and hucks it across the ring. The Wardogs jump Eddie. The boos are just getting louder and louder. This is Connors and Coughlin out here. Kid ends up pile driving Eddie onto the Continental title. Like, dude, the AEW Continental Crown, whatever it's called. Yeah, dude, it was crazy.
Glorious chaos.
Yes, glorious chaos.
Yeah, this one I didn't have a ton of expectations for, and it actually was really, really good. I expected to like this match the least. Just because I knew that it would just be such straight up violence. But it actually was like pretty controlled violence, considering the two involved. It wasn't grotesque like some matches have been. It was straight up, as you said, these guys just trying to kick the shit out of each other. And a good chunk of that shit kickery happened like before the match even started on the outside. Because it took them a good couple minutes to get them into the ring to start the match officially. Yeah, the chops though were just I expect the chops out of Kingston. I expect a different kind of chop usually out of Kid. He's more of a thud chopper than a clap chopper. But holy heck, the noise he was getting off of Kingston tonight. Well, this night. I watched this match like a couple hours ago. But yeah, the chops were so clappy, so loud, but they were so like landing every single one as hard as the last. There's some point where they like some people will start doing it and it's just kind of like wee. This was no wee. This was not a good time. This was every single chop you were getting was acting like a CPR thrust in your chest. Was not fun. There was one point as the match was starting to dissolve down and before it went to the outside for that final count out, that they were just hitting each other for the sake of hitting each other. This was when I started to enjoy it a little less. There was less organization in there. And I was just kind of like, okay, we're going to brawl to the end. Let's get it done then. I do like how the Wardogs are getting involved in everybody else's matches, though. Despite it being, obviously annoying to some extent, it's a heel thing to do, and it's a Bullet Club heel thing to do. But at least it's not House of Torture. This is actually stuff that makes sense. This is stuff that actually works, and it's not obnoxious or predictable like House of Torture always is. It's spontaneous and chaotic and turns into something actually really, really good. And this is something that I think that NJPW has done very well with the Wardogs.
Yeah, again, it's how they're building, and this isn't over. I think it's going to be Windy City Riot. We're going to get these two for the Triple Crown again, the American Triple Crown again. I think so, and I'm not against it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what's next for these two, because I want to see them come back together, because this one, while I expect it to be a good, hard-hitting match, it really, really stood out to me on this show. So we move on to a match I had zero expectation for, because I'm not the biggest Moxley fan, and when you know there's a no disqualification piece on it, you're like, oh, Moxley's gonna bleed. But it was better than I expected it to be, because I think these two still worked a really good match. Lots of brawling. They have a kendo stick like lightsaber fight early on. They end up having a steel chair lightsaber fight later in the match. Moxley's punching Shingo with his fist wrapped in chain. Takagi would do that later to Moxley. Again, like they're just beating the crap at each other. Shingo stops at one point and like fixes his belt, like as he's beating up on Moxley, stops, retightens his belt, and then keeps beating up on Moxley. I was like, that's just a gangster move of like, I'm beating you up so much I can stop and fix my belt, and then I'll keep beating you up. I was like, that it's so good.
He also prevents a wardrobe malfunction. Just saying.
It's true. Mox ends up hitting Shingo with the garbage can lid, and Shingo gets busted open first. Like, who expected that? There's so many different great spots here. Takagi's just hitting his lariats over and over again, just trying to just destroy Moxley's head. Mox bites the bloody forehead of Shingo, and I'm like, ew. Just ew, dude. Like,
don't you put it in your mouth. Don't you put it in your mouth. Don't stuff it in your face.
So,
or
like,
someone else's face. Gross.
So there was two spots where, like, the initial kendo stick lightsaber battle, Mox ended up shoving the kendo stick in Shinkagi's mouth in just the weirdest way, and I'm like, this is weird. But then
what he did was he broke it in half.
No. That's the second time, because after the little lightsaber battle against the barricade, he just shoved the end of the kendo stick in his mouth, like he was trying to make him make him fillet.
He did.
But then he broke the kendo stick later and like takes the shard, starts stabbing them into the forehead, and then he shoves the pieces he's been stabbing him with in his mouth. And I'm like, ew.
So the question is, what is Moxley's obsession with sticking things in his mouth and other people's mouths?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Mox gets hit in the head with a trash can lid, and he starts bleeding. They're just beating the living piss out of each other. They do the chair duel. Takagi hits Mox in the abdomen and he wraps his arm in the chain and hits a lariat with the chain around his arm. Gets a 2 out of that. There's a table spot. Mox ends up putting Shingo through a table with the elbow drop. They get a table in the ring. Takagi ends up missing Moxley up top, hits a DVD off the top through the table. It's the Death Valley Driver. Hits the pumping bomber, hits a straight jacket power bomb for 2, then made in Japan for 2. They're brawling. Mox hits a cutter, the stomp, the Death Rider, Shingo Takagi. And I'm like, please don't end it like this. And Shingo kicks out at 2.9. I'm like, oh, thank you, Christ. Because if he would have just come out of taking all those moves just to hit that shit, I would have been a little mad. So Mox gets him in, hits the hammer and anvil, elbow drops to the neck that all the members of BCC do. Applies the rear naked choke. Takagi stands up. Mox hits him with a sleeper suplex. Mox hits a lariat, hits the Death Rider through a setup chair, and he finally gets the win at like 26.5 minutes. While not my favorite style of professional wrestling, these two did a great job in giving. And Moxley bled, Takagi bled, but they didn't bleed that like pouring out of them blood. They bled a bit, and that was it. I really enjoyed it because it's just these two dudes just beating the living piss out of each other. Again, just like the match before, but they did it in their style, and it worked. It was the first Moxley bled match in a long while that I've actually enjoyed. Other than the triple threat.
Yeah, I was going to say, other than that triple threat, this was another one with him where the injury and the blood made sense. But this was the first time in a long time that it was a Jon Moxley match that involved weapons where, like, he did not have the crimson mask the entire time. He did have it for a little bit once he initially got busted open, but it clearly cauterized itself, and he was kind of pretty clear by the end of it, even with the misting. There was a moment I sent you a video of what I thought of what was happening with the kendo stick and the chair battle, and subsequently the table pieces. It brought back memories to me of Robin Hood Men in Tights, where Little John and Robin Hood were like having their little stick battle on the bridge, and every time they like hit it at the right spot, the stick breaks in half, and they discard a piece and use the littler piece. That was all I could think about when I saw those. And it actually happened when Shingo was hitting Moxley with the remaining pieces of the table that were in the ring. He hit him with one piece. It broke into two. He tossed one piece and he hit it with another, and that piece also broke. I was like, oh my God, he's doing it. He's going to do it. But no, he ended up hitting him with that inside out pumping bomber lariat. I can't recall seeing Moxley sell an inside out in quite some time. But
Yeah,
then
not
again, I
him
also
either.
don't watch his stuff a lot, so I don't know if he does them.
No, he doesn't really do that flippy dippy like that. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't need to take it inside out. So for him to do it inside out means they're really selling how powerful that Takagi lariat is.
And I
Yeah,
mean, former IWGP World Champion, obvious. I think I figured out what I don't like about Moxley. Now that I've figured it out, I can kind of focus on trying to get past it. His selling is what bothers me. It's very lazy. You're wrestling a former IWGP World Champion. Don't be lazy. That being said, though, Takagi makes you work when he wants to. So he would allow Mox to be as lazy as he would want to be. But there were moments, especially when the match was getting into the 20 minutes mark and they were clearly a little tired. Obvious 20-minute match. 26 minutes, as you said, subsequently. Yeah, that the kendo stick in the mouth was gross. I just did not like that. Don't put it in your mouth. I keep saying it.
don't you put it in your mouth. Don't you put it in your mouth.
Don't stuff it in your face. Anyway, I'm also a lot more comfortable with table spots in North America than I am in Japan, just because that absence of that metal frame around the rest of the wood of the table.
Oh yeah.
when Takagi went through there, I wasn't having a mild panic attack like I was when I saw Hikuleo, So it yeah. I don't like table spots in Japan. Let's avoid them. Unless you want to look like Coughlin. That's a different thing entirely. But yeah, the table speed, yeah. There's just a lot of fun. A lot of chaos in this match, but again, I'm also not a hardcore no DQ deathmatch person, despite Suzu Suzuki, who is a deathmatch specialist, being one of my favorite wrestlers. However, this match was surprisingly palatable for me. I wouldn't say, oh my God, go out and you have to watch this, but I wouldn't say avoid it if it's on your match watch list. If it's on your watch list, watch it because it'd be worth it. You'll have a good trip. But like if you're not into hardcore matches, I'd even still recommend putting it in a top 10 watch. Because again, it was very palatable considering what it was and who was involved in it. And with Takagi in it, it could have been a lot more bloody and a lot more chaotic. But I think having this Takagi here was what kept everything on the level and kept it nice for viewership.
Yeah, I'm not going to put this on a match of the year list, but I had a great time watching this match. I had fun. But talking of a match of the year list, this one's on my list. Fuck, this was good. Kazuchika Okada versus Will Ospreay. Going to be the last singles match Will Ospreay will have under his New Japan contract. He has one more match. That is February 11th when he faces the Wardogs in that 10-man steel cage match. Yeah, this is the perfect final singles match for this man, getting to face the man who brought him to New Japan in Kazuchika Okada. Yeah, let's get into ole, ole, ole chants for the match starts. Okada chants start right after the bell is ringing. This is awesome. Chants are ringing up before they even lock up. This crowd is ready for this. They spend the first few minutes feeling each other out, trying to get dominant position. That's like the first few minutes. It's how these two work. It's how kind of Okada works early. They're Ospreay goes for his plancha to the floor, but he misses, and Okada DDTs him on the floor, and then he gets the apron hung DDT. There's "Let's go Ospreay," and then "Let's go Ospreay." Okada chants ringing out. Okada gets the corner splash, but as he goes for another move, Ospreay hits a suplex. Ospreay follows with a hamstring flip kick, and then sending Okada to the floor, and finally gets his plancha. Okada in the ring gets a flapjack and then hits an air raid crash neck breaker, gets the money clip, but Ospreay gets out of it by running Okada into the corner. Two huge hook kicks, Os cutter, but Ospreay can only get two. Okada avoids Sky Twister and hits a shotgun drop kick. Okada hits a tombstone on the floor. Beautiful hook kick, but the Os cutter gets blocked, and Ospreay and Okada goes for the Rainmaker, but Ospreay reverses it into a Spanish Fly. Rainmaker again is attempted, but it's reversed into a roll-up, then turned into a Styles Clash by Ospreay, but can only get two. Ospreay, Okada's against the ropes. Ospreay does the Kenny Omega like finger gun thing, like to for the V trigger, but Okada cuts him off the drop kick. Hits the Rainmaker gets reversed. But Ospreay goes for a Rainmaker, but Okada reverses into a Stormbreaker. Hits a Stormbreaker. Then Okada hits Rainmaker, but Ospreay kicks it out at 2.9. This is where Okada gets up and flips off the crowd. And this place just proceeds to boo him. Like, they're like, what the fuck, dude? Half of us are cheering for you. It just, this match is going insane. Ospreay reverses, like, Okada goes for the drop kick, but Ospreay catches him and power bombs him. They're trading strikes to the knees. They rise. They're trading strikes. Okada eventually drops Ospreay. The announcer says 25 minutes, and I'm like, this has been 25 minutes. What the fuck? And I just watched this about 2 hours ago, or a few hours ago. Hidden blade out of nowhere to the face. Ospreay calls for Rainmaker, but he gets drop kicked, and then Rainmaker and he gets a drop kick and then gets a Rainmaker. It only gets two. Ospreay reverses the Okada attempted Rainmaker into Stormbreaker. Okada kicks a 2.9. Hidden blade is reversed or is dodged, and Okada hits the drop kick. Then the Emerald Explosion. He gets the wrist clutch. They're trading strikes. Okada hits like a short arm lariat, hits a Death Valley driver, picks up Ospreay, Rainmaker, and Okada wins the match. I think it's the perfect ending because everybody knows Ospreay's leaving. Nobody knows what the fuck Okada's doing. They don't know if he's re-signed and staying. Nobody knows. So having the guy that is the one that should be staying win this match made so much sense. And it's not like there isn't another forbidden door out there. It's not like there's not a chance these two couldn't go again. So, man, as Ospreay's final singles match, this was absolutely incredible. Before we get to the post-match, I'm going to let you talk about the match before we get to post-match stuff.
Yeah, because there was some more glorious chaos in the post, too. It was an interesting show and a freaking phenomenal match to end the show with. The last show, no, that wasn't an Ospreay ender either, but we could have ended with Ospreay. Holy heck! I mean, these are the top two money guys in New Japan right now. We're losing one of them, potentially losing a second. We don't know, as you mentioned, what Okada is doing. But yeah, this match was very interesting. We kind of we're seeing with Okada the emergence of this kind of interesting, stoically cold personality where, like, he's not going out of his way to be a dick or anything, but he's certainly not going out of his way to be nice either. He's kind of, dare I say, Naitoing it right now. He's walking that line of good and evil. Sometimes he veers off into the good and he's like super duper good Okada. And then sometimes he veers off and we see him do some cheap shots on the outside and then just kind of walk away like, yeah, I just did that. What you gonna do about it? Nothing.
The evil in more ways than one.
I would rather not compare it. He's not doing shenanigans though.
No.
He's not he's not being obnoxious about it either. He's being very, I don't want to say arrogant about it, but he's certainly walking with a little bit more of a confidence in his step. Yeah, this, I mean, what else can I add on there? You took a lot of the great, I suppose. A lot of the stuff on the outside was very concerning. I mean, it's Osprey. I'm always going to let you have Osprey. You say I'm the sex pig.
Well, you are.
I mean, but so are you.
I don't want to sleep with him. I'm just a big fan of him.
No, I'm afraid of his woman. Yeah, this match was just the perfect way to end this show, and the perfect way to kind of, as you said, kind of peter out the tail end of Osprey's kind of career here. His last singles match in NJPW for now. For now. He'll be back.
And he even said, as a contracted wrestler, the commentary said this is his final singles as a contracted wrestler. He was saying everything was stated as a contracted wrestler because there's always a chance he comes back for another match while working with AEW. It's going to happen. We all know it will.
Well, yeah, I mean, the talents will just, and as I mentioned, we've mentioned, both of us have mentioned multiple times on multiple shows, it can only benefit both companies to have that go back and forth between AEW and NJPW and ROH and Impact. Hell, even WWE. Like, it benefits everybody to have that avenue of talent and communication going back and forth. So, yeah. It's probably not the last time we're going to see these two in the ring, but it certainly, they had a very emotional bout. And the little promo that they put on beforehand where it showed all the wins, between these guys in their one-on-ones, it's just, it set the stage for something so great. But that's what Osprey is really, really known for me, is his just endless ability to create a story and create something by just opening his mouth. That's all he does. It's crazy.
Yeah, and even that video it showed the Rev Pro match where Okada first wrestled Osprey, and then it shows the little promo backstage at a New Japan show states of Okada thanking him for bringing him in, and then showing the history of these two. It was a beautiful, touching thing to watch. You know what I mean? Just because, like, they've been through a lot together, like, and then him turning on Okada and forming the Empire and so many things. So we get the handshake and hug after the match, and this is where the Wardogs come out. They toss Okada out pretty much immediately. They're beating down on Osprey. Finlay's getting ready to hit him with a shillelagh. But Cobb, TJP, and to everybody's surprise, Eddie Kingston come out to make the save, but not really surprised because Eddie Kingston is in a bit of a war with Kid anyways, so it makes sense. They make the save. Eddie tries to hit Coughlin with a ring bell. Misses. It was
He's
funny.
lucky he moved too, because Kingston full on swung with that thing.
And so they clear the ring. Wardogs leave. The crowd starts chanting, "Thank you, Osprey." Will says, "You can thank me after I wipe the floor with Wardogs." Finlay, you and your sex slaves can keep running around doing whatever. We'll see you in Osaka. Oi, Eddie, I owe you one. So, I can't wait, because I want to see how they interact in AEW. See what they do together in AEW. I would like to see a match between the two of them, honestly, on one of the AEW shows for the Triple Crown.
Being that Kingston is a champion, we've got Moody Broody Osprey. Moody Broody Osprey equals championships. So I would assume that they are probably going to be introducing themselves to each other very, very quickly when Osprey arrives in the AEW locker room for sure.
Yeah.
In regards to Kingston just kind of coming out there, I don't know if it was more of a, I think you're right, it's more of a he's in a feud with Kid thing. I don't think it was a, oh, I got the United Empire's back.
No,
It
yeah.
was definitely a moment of, I can get in here and fight a little bit more tonight.
Definitely that.
Yeah.
So Will Osprey says, "Thanks for having my back, boys. Love you." Hugs Cobb and Kid or Cobb and TJP, who ended up going and sitting in the corner for the promo. Thank you, Osprey. Chance go again. He says, on a serious note, thank you. He says, thank you to the fans. It's been a really fun year. He came in at 22 years old, found out a lot about himself here. They allowed an immature man to face everyone here and grow from it. And then the crowd just starts chanting, Osprey, Osprey. He thanks Okada. He thanks the fans. He said it's not too bad for a little autistic kid from Essex. He says he's grateful to evolve and grow under the Lion's mark. He's grateful for his boys in the Empire since they formed in day one. Funny that Okan's not there though. And Okan's not even in the 10-man tag, which is the even funnier part. This chapter, yeah, it's the other 5 members that are in that. It's the 2 juniors, Cobb, Hanare, and Osprey that are in that match because it's 2 juniors versus 3 heavyweights.
That makes no sense.
It should be, in my opinion, it should be Hanare and Okan in there instead of Cobb. But yeah,
I agree.
But it is what it is. He says this chapter is closing, another is opening. One more date on February 11th, and we're bringing the steel cage. He started as a backyard wrestler, and he's bringing it to New Japan. If you don't like violence, and he lists off like don't like blood and all this shit, don't watch. But if you're sick like I am, let's take that piss out of Bullet Club and bury it. Like he wants to destroy Bullet Club at this point.
I like how you censored him there. Yes. We haven't been censoring ourselves.
Okay, and fucking bury it. Okay, he wants to fucking bury
it. Yeah, he had some choice words, and I just kind of laughed. I'm like, yep, this is still NJPW television where you can get away with that. AEW might not be so coolio with the F-bombs. I don't even know how coolio they'll be with the sex pig thing, but we'll have to see. I have hope. Don't be a bitch, Tony.
Well, we have come to the end of another episode of NJPW Puroresu Review. If you're listening on that Sunday's Main Event, thank you so very much for joining us here. Subscribe to the channel at SundaysMainEventRadio.com. And if you're watching on our YouTube page or on the Backbreaker Video YouTube page, please go down, like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below. Please hit the notification button so you will alert every time we drop a new video.
Ding dong.
Hello. But you can find me on the X Mastodon Blue Sky and Hive at That Canada Guy, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads at That Canada Dude. You can find me on Facebook at Andre Melball Wrestling Talk over there, and you can always find me right here on the YouTube page, youtube.com/at Andre Melball Wrestling Talk. You can find us all the time. You can find us our big shows over at SundayNightsMainEvent.com in an audio form. Please check them out. Lots of great content over there. They cover everything across where they cover MLW, WWE, NXT. We cover Japanese wrestling for them now. They cover AEW. It's all covered over there. So please go check them out over there. If you want to support them, go to patreon.com/SNME radio. Give them a couple $1 dues and you can support some great content. And they got some new special content coming out this year exclusively for their Patreon members. You can also find me over at twitch.tv/ our local establishment. On Thursday, we're going to be doing our live review of the Echo series. I've got some choice opinions on how I feel about that series. Some good, some bad. You hear it all over there. Myself and old Ed on Marvel Talk, and then later this month we'll be having our Marvel Talk rebound coming out with our review of the Incredible Hulk. We're going back. We got the second movie, and I still haven't watched it because I don't want to watch that goddamn shithole of a movie, but I'm going to at some point. You can also find us over at youtube.com/@backbreaker video. Go over there, support Mike the Ref. Lots of great content going on over there on his wrestling channel. There's us, there's stuff from Astrid and other people over there. Please check that out. You can also go over to twitch.tv/Mike the Ref. See all his great gaming content, live gaming content that he does there. His AEW watch along that he does every Wednesday. It's going to be starting in a few minutes here as we're finishing this one up. You can also go over to youtube.com/@backbreaker for all the replays of his great gaming content. You can find him, Mr. PJC, Mr. Rick Jules, who we're going to see both those men this coming weekend at the hockey game. And their wonderful special guest, Miss Kayla J.
Kayla J. I love Kayla J.
Yes, you do. Melball, where can they find you?
If you're wanting to follow a Melball, you can follow her on the X thing at Collins Melball. You can follow her on everything else, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Mastodon, and Blue Sky at Melball Collins. You can also find me on our local establishments programming soon, where I'm going to be doing a show called Spooky Ookie-ish, where we talk about shit on the internet that's really spooky and try to figure out if it's real or if it's an elaborate hoax by someone who's just really good at Photoshop and has too much time on their hands.
It's all a hoax.
It's always a hoax. You can also catch me on Asher Pizarro's YouTube channel, where we do our show, Ladies Wrestling Showcase. We're going to be having an episode this week. I'm so excited. We're going to talk about some of the stuff happening in women's wrestling, so you'll want to check it out. If you're wanting to watch NJPW, we will leave a link in the description box below. It is njpwworld.com. It is 999 yen, or approximately $10 Canadian. Shout out Sean Spears, but it's more like $9.50 according to that guy over there. Sort of inflation. It's a thing. It's still an incredible price to watch some amazing wrestling. You can go in there and watch the show that we are talking about today in Japanese, unless you go to Fight, where you can see it in English, but you have to pay more. So we do it. Well, I did it in Japanese. But you can go and watch that show. You can go and watch last year's Battle in the Valley, which was just as awesome of a show. You can go back onto our website and check our review on that one if you don't believe us. Andre, my trusted friend and colleague, do you have anything else to say to the beautiful people?
Just thank you all so very much, and we love you. Please keep coming back. Throw the comments down below. We want to hear from you. So love you all. If you listen on SME Radio, throw the comments into them on the Facebook page, because I'd love to hear from you guys over there. I'm on the SME page all the time. Please message me over there if you're listening to it. Thank you.
And that being said, I am your mama. Over there is Andre. We will see you next time. Adios.